Hey everyone, and welcome back. If you're a Halo game fan, you should be worried about the TV adaptation continuing on. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how the new Halo TV series is a flop and why fans are disappointed. Let's dive into it. The latest Paramount Plus series undervalues gaming viewers and falls into the content delivery trap, sacrificing gameplay enjoyment in the process. The illusions within the new Halo series come thick and quick for anyone in the know. Bungie's first-person shooter was adapted for the screen for $10 million each episode by Paramount. And for every knowing wink, the statement becomes stronger. This show is for the fans. The first episode ends with the renowned Gregorian chant from the original score, which was not there in the initial teaser, according to the internet. With bated eagerness, we await the Master Chief's teabagging of a dead elite. Halo currently sits atop an unpleasant heap of unsuccessful video game adaptations. No gameplay has ever been transformed into a riveting movie or TV program, and this one, which premiered on Thursday, is no exception, at least based on the first two episodes. At best, it exemplifies the unusual nature of these adaptations. They serve to extend the game's universe first and foremost. They spend most of their time appearing yoked to the lore, making them a special form of obsequious entertainment. They intend to gratify one sort of fan, the one who will identify and be delighted by every nod directed at them. All the authors have to do is organize the callbacks in the correct order. What would ordinarily be referred to as a narrative is nothing more than laying Easter eggs in this scenario. Halo's developers claim to have developed a new plot, but the program still feels like a protracted, cliched cutscene. As is usual of similar adaptations, a game designer recently informed me that he despises cinematic games, which he refers to as content delivery devices. That statement also applies to Halo adaptations. The material they give is a surge of familiarity, nostalgia for the last time they got a chance to play the Halo game. As Halo, the program, begins, the viewer is presented with a settlement of rebels trapped in an endless conflict for a substance known as deuterium. A grizzled Scotsman with wounds older than you tells fantastic tales about Spartans, gigantic, inhuman super warriors, who the audience knows aren't as ruthless as he claims. The scene turns to Kwan Ha Bu, Yurin Ha, the rebel leader's daughter. Out of her pals looking for Madrigal, a psychedelic, it was the same vegetation that powers the spacecraft that will let her get off this dumb rock. Since it has the universe's greatest concentration of heavy hydrogen, the Covenant then appears. Prune-skinned creatures with predatory, four-petaled lips wielding their legendary energy blades and active camo. They assassinate Kwan's family as well as her tripping companions. One of the most striking differences from the game is that the show is violent. Prior elites seldom took such delight in slaughtering human infants. Kwan will be made to evacuate her rock, but not just in the way she'd hoped, specifically under the watchful eye of her rescuer, the Master Chief. Commonly known as John, Pablo Schreiber, they flee the Chief's employers, the human-run UNSC, to a cyberpunk bandit neighborhood, which you can tell is rebellious since the people are arguing loudly and riding motorcycles inside. A story begins to take shape. Games frequently over-explain their plots, constantly telling you of the circumstances in which you are playing. It's a relief for many when they're given the opportunity to take charge. There's no such tranquility here. Master Chief and your comrades Spartans fought a theocratic alien species in the Halo game. Because Halo, the program, must be seen rather than played, the program is continually defining itself and laying forth the laws of its world. In this way, Halo and some other video game adaptations use one of the least artistic aspects of gaming, the tutorial. Dialogue rarely settles into the present. It is continually focused on what has happened or what will occur, or on global politics. Non-players should avoid this type of discourse. In reality, it's the polar opposite. It caters to the savvy fan. Watching these series and movies has the sensation of tuning into a Royal Rumble and waiting for your favorite wrestler to arrive. Mewtwo escaping the lab in Detective Pikachu. Scorpion saying, "Come over here" in Mortal Kombat, yet speaking Japanese the entire movie. The elites initially appear in Halo through a gate, covered in smoke, much like The Undertaker. The Marvel movies. If there is an origin for this style of narrative, is most certainly it. Immersing yourself in the Marvel Cinematic Universe improves your enjoyment of any given film. Those who are unaware of all these references are missing out. It's egotistical filmmaking, in which the fan is seen as the most important part of the audience. Unlike the finest Marvel movies which build on decades of comics to create films with a wider audience, video game versions are nothing without references. Basically, Halo's setting isn't intriguing enough to warrant a full-fledged television series. Do more with less, as Susan O'Connor, a writer working on BioShock, explained last year. The idea, she explained, is that manipulating a figure is so appealing that it may trump our need for greater storylines in favor of lesser ones. The most fascinating aspect of Halo is how the tale is interwoven with advances seen exclusively in video games. The slipperiness of a sniper's shot and the arc of a plasma explosion, the vastness of the planet, as well as the trial of its difficulties. Disregarding nostalgia, which can elevate even the most mundane recollections of iconic status, Halo's haptic pleasures transcend cliché. Of course, art does not have to replicate reality, but games come far closer than other mediums to doing so. And life is exhilarating even when it is cliched. Steven Spielberg, who was reportedly heavily involved in this Halo script and its 265 revisions, would never understand this because he's the same Spielberg who claimed in 2013 that when you pick up the controller, the heart turns off. But that the participants of the game and its characters are separated by a great abyss in empathy when they pick up the controller. Even if he has since altered his mind, Spielberg still has his background. Interactivity allows players to bond with even the most clumsily designed characters in a game. The first-person perspective, the sounds of Chief's gun reloading, and the fast edits of a rifle assault getting tossed are all efforts to recreate this joy in the Halo TV show. However, switching from an engaging to a passive medium has the potential to feel like a decrease or a step back. It's about more than just sharing stories. Non-players may be perplexed as to why gamers are so enthralled with the large figure in the green suit. For those that have battled as Master Chief, may feel hollow seeing someone else represent him. So what's the solution? It's an easy one. In which a handful of games fail, you will succeed. Deep characterization and bold writing are required for these adaptations, which must, by necessity, bear little resemblance to the source material. Master Chief, for example, is essentially RoboCop. He's the finest weapon mankind has, a synthetic fascist who takes hormonal medications to repress his emotions. There's a hint, especially near the end of the episode, that the program wants to delve inside of Chief's mind. But it is clear from the first 5 minutes that he's more man than machine, as a magical MacGuffin stimulates his connective tissue, exposing his past and giving him sensations. Then he comes to Quan's rescue. Perhaps, like Battlestar Galactica and early Game of Thrones did, subsequent episodes will diverge totally from the games and go deep into the character's skin, but there's nothing yet to suggest Chief is anything more than a bundle of promitic inspirations. More likely, they'll resolve him to be a brilliant green, optimistic hero. As Joseph Staten, the chief creative officer of 343 Industries, the Microsoft division that now makes Halo, puts it. Aside from the difficulties of two organizations agreeing on the vision of its flagship hero, part of the issue here is that Hollywood has a preconceived notion of what a specific type of fan wants to see. Communities may be formed via books and films. There are the Joyce Wars, where individuals dress up as the dude from The Big Lebowski and fight over the right punctuation in Ulysses. Games, on the other hand, almost always do, partially because they've thrived in the internet age and partly because they're frequently played with others. Adaptations are developed because they have built-in audiences. But if all you do is daisy chain a lot of illusions, you're missing out on a chance to flesh out the people that those references revolve around. This type of filmmaking appears to be motivated by the assumption that gamers prefer trashier narratives, regardless of the medium. Gamers, according to reasoning, have lesser standards than the ordinary cinema buff and prefer not to be pushed. I don't agree. Audiences that anticipate complex narratives in their movies and TV shows, yet to connect with a different type of character in their games are, in the end, the same target market. That implies Halo will disappoint everyone, not just those who play the game, because no fan will love the adaptation more so than they love the game as long as these programs stay so true to their base material. That's all we have for you today. Have you seen the new Halo TV series? Do you think it's a flop? Do you only like it because it's nostalgic? Do you think they should stick to making games only? Let us know what you think below in the comments.